The sky was burning. Red and orange flames covered the clouds like a blanket of death. Commander Taiho stood on the broken wall of the military base and watched the enemy ships fill the sky. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. He had stopped counting hours ago. The Varan Empire had come to Earth. They had come to take everything. Taiho was 32 years old. He had served in the United Earth Defense Force for 12 years. He had seen many battles. He had killed many enemies. But he had never seen anything like this. The Varan were not like other alien races. They did not come to trade. They did not come to talk. They came only to conquer. Behind him, the base was silent. The guns had stopped firing. The soldiers had stopped screaming. Taiho was the last one standing. His uniform was torn and covered in blood. Some of it was his own. Most of it was not. He held his rifle in his hands. It was almost empty. Maybe 20 bullets left. 20 bullets against 1,000 ships. He almost wanted to laugh. His communication device made a small sound. He looked at it. A message was coming through. It was from the main command center on the other side of the planet. "Commander Taiho," the voice said. It was General Minho. His voice was tired and broken. "The war is over. We have lost. All commanders are ordered to surrender. The Varan Queen has promised to spare those who do not fight." Taiho did not answer. He turned off the device and threw it on the ground. Surrender. The word tasted like poison in his mouth. His father had been a soldier. His grandfather had been a soldier. For 3 generations, his family had protected Earth. They had never surrendered. They had never run away. They had always stood and fought until the very end. He thought about his sister, Yuna. She was in the underground shelter with the other civilians. She had cried when he left for the battle. She had begged him to stay, but he could not. He was a soldier. Fighting was all he knew. A large shadow passed over him. Taiho looked up. One of the Varan warships was coming down. It was massive, bigger than any building he had ever seen. Its dark metal body blocked out the burning sky. Strange symbols were painted on its sides in a language no human could read. The ship landed a few hundred meters away. The ground shook under its weight. Dust and smoke filled the air. Taiho covered his eyes with his arm and waited. When the dust cleared, he saw them. The Varan soldiers were walking out of the ship. They were tall, at least 3 meters high. Their skin was dark purple, and their eyes glowed yellow like small suns. They wore black armor that seemed to eat the light around it. In their hands, they carried weapons that looked like long spears made of pure energy. There were 50 of them. They formed a line and marched toward the base. Toward Taiho, he raised his rifle. His hands did not shake. His heart did not beat faster. He was not afraid. He had accepted death many hours ago. Now he was just waiting for it to come. The Varan soldiers stopped when they saw him. They seemed confused. One human standing alone against 50 of them. It did not make sense to them. Humans were supposed to be weak. Humans were supposed to run and hide. Humans were supposed to surrender. One of the soldiers stepped forward. He was bigger than the others. Probably their leader. He looked at Taiho with his glowing eyes and made a strange sound. It took a moment for Taiho to realize the alien was laughing. "Small creature," the alien said. His voice was deep and rough, like stones grinding together. The translator device in Taiho's ear turned the alien words into human speech. "You stand alone. Your army is dead. Your world is falling. Why do you not kneel?" Taiho spat on the ground. "Koreans do not kneel," he said. "Humans do not kneel. We stand. We fight. We die on our feet." The alien laughed again. "Then you will die." "Yes," Taiho said. "But I will take some of you with me." He fired. The first bullet hit the alien leader right between his glowing eyes. Purple blood exploded from the wound. The alien fell backward. dead before he hit the ground. The other soldiers screamed in anger and charged. Taiho kept firing. 1 bullet, 2 bullets, 3. Each shot found its target. Each shot killed a Varan soldier, but they were too fast. Too many. One of them reached him and swung his energy spear. Taiho jumped to the side, but the weapon still cut his arm. Pain exploded through his body. He fell to one knee. Another soldier kicked him in the chest. He flew backward and crashed into the broken wall. His rifle fell from his hands. Blood filled his mouth. He tried to stand, but his body would not listen. The pain was too much. His vision was getting dark around the edges. The Voran soldiers surrounded him. They pointed their weapons at his head. They were going to kill him now. It was over. But then something strange happened. A bright light came down from the sky. It was not fire or explosion. It was something else. Something cold and white. The Varan soldiers looked up in confusion. Another ship was coming down. But this one was different. It was white and gold, not black like the others. Strange music seemed to come from it, beautiful and terrible at the same time. The ship landed next to the first one. Its door opened, and more Voran soldiers came out. But these ones wore different armor, white and silver instead of black. And they walked with careful, measured steps, like guards protecting something precious. Then she came out, Queen Lyra of the Varan Empire. Taiho had never seen her before, but he knew who she was. Every human knew her face. She was the one who had declared war on Earth. She was the one who had sent millions of soldiers to kill humans. She was the one responsible for all the death and destruction. She was tall, even for a Voran. Her skin was pale purple, almost white. Her eyes did not glow yellow like the others. They were deep red, like pools of blood. She wore a long dress made of something that looked like liquid silver. A crown of black metal sat on her head. She was beautiful, and she was terrifying. The queen walked toward Taiho. Her guards followed close behind. The soldiers who had been about to kill him stepped back and bowed their heads. She stopped in front of him. Her red eyes looked at him like he was an interesting insect. "What is this?" she asked. Her voice was soft and cold, like wind blowing over ice. "Why is this human still alive?" One of the soldiers spoke up. "He killed 5 of our warriors, my queen. We were about to execute him." The queen raised one elegant eyebrow. 5? One small human killed 5 of my warriors? "Yes, my queen." She looked at Taiho again. He looked back at her. He did not bow. He did not look away. Even on his knees, bleeding and broken, he met her eyes without fear. Something changed in the queen's face. It was small, just a tiny flicker. But Taiho saw it. For one moment, she looked almost surprised. "Interesting," she said. "What is your name, human?" He spat blood on the ground. "Commander Taiho, United Earth Defense Force." "Commander," she repeated the word like she was tasting it. "There are no more commanders, human. There is no more United Earth. There is only the Voran Empire now." "Then kill me," Taiho said. "I will not serve you. I will not bow to you. I will never stop fighting you." The queen smiled. It was not a nice smile. "No," she said. "I will not kill you. Not yet. You are amusing. I have conquered 1,000 worlds. I have destroyed 100 species. But I have never seen a creature quite like you." She turned to her guards. "Take him to my ship. Put him in the special cell. I want to study this human more closely." The guards moved forward. Taiho tried to fight, but his body was too broken. They grabbed his arms and lifted him up. He felt consciousness slipping away. The last thing he saw before the darkness took him was the queen's red eyes, watching him with something that might have been curiosity or might have been fear. Far away, in the underground shelter, Yuna felt a cold chill run down her spine. She did not know why. She could not explain it, but somehow, deep in her heart, she knew that something important had just happened. Something that would change everything. Above the shelter, the sky kept burning. The Varan ships kept flying. The war was over. Humanity had lost. But one man had not surrendered. One man still had fire in his heart. One man would not stop fighting until his last breath. And somewhere in the universe, the ancient powers that watched over all living things took notice. The story of Taiho had just begun. In his cell, Taiho sat in the darkness and waited. Tomorrow, he would either free his world or die trying. Either way, the moon of Kessa was ancient. It had been neutral ground for thousands of years. Wars were forbidden here. Only competitions and challenges were allowed. The great arena in its center had seen countless battles between champions of different species. It had seen victory and defeat, glory and death, but it had never seen anything like this. Ships filled the sky above Kessa. Hundreds of them. Thousands of them. They came from every corner of the galaxy. Every species wanted to see this fight. The human against the destroyer. The insect against the monster. Taiho stood in the preparation room below the arena. Through the small window, he could see the crowd above. Millions of aliens filled the seats. Their voices created a constant roar, like an ocean during a storm. A guard brought him his equipment. It was simple. A pair of fighting pants. A vest made of light armor. 2 short swords with curved blades. Human weapons. Traditional weapons. The same kind his grandfather had used in the old martial arts. He dressed slowly and carefully. His body still hurt from the beating he had taken. But the pain was distant now. Far away. He had pushed it to the back of his mind where it could not bother him. The door opened and a Varan official walked in. He was fat and covered in jewelry. His purple skin had an unhealthy gray color. Too much easy living, Taiho thought. Human, the official said. The rules are simple. No weapons that can kill from a distance. No poison, no calling for help. The fight continues until one fighter is dead or surrenders. Do you understand? Taiho nodded. I understand. Your opponent is Goro, champion of the Varan Empire. He has won 347 fights in this arena. He has never lost. He has never even been wounded. The official paused and looked at Taiho with something like pity. You can still surrender. The queen will be merciful. You will be a slave, but you will live. No, the official sighed. Very well. May the ancient powers have mercy on your soul. He left, and Taiho was alone again. He closed his eyes and thought about his home. The small house in Bizen where he had grown up. The smell of his mother's cooking. The sound of his father's laughter. The feeling of Yuna's hand in his when she was small and scared of the dark. All gone now. All destroyed by the Varan. His parents were dead. His home was ashes. Only Yuna was left, hiding in the underground shelter, waiting to hear if her brother was alive or dead. I will not let her down, he thought. I will not let Earth down. A horn sounded. It was time. The doors opened, and light flooded in. Taiho walked out into the arena. The roar of the crowd became deafening. He could feel their eyes on him. Millions of aliens looking at the small human who dared to challenge their empire. The arena was a large, circular space covered with sand. Ancient symbols were carved into the walls around it. Above, the seats rose up in rows, filled with creatures of every shape and size. In the highest seats, behind glass walls, sat the nobles and royalty. And among them, in the center, was Queen Lyra. She was watching him. Even from this distance, he could feel her red eyes burning into him. On the other side of the arena, another door opened. And Goro walked out. Taiho had heard stories about the destroyer. He had seen pictures. But nothing had prepared him for the real thing. Goral was massive. Even for a Varan, he was huge. His body was almost 4 meters tall and covered with muscles that looked like stone. His purple skin was decorated with scars from hundreds of battles. His eyes glowed not yellow, but orange, like fire god in his hands. He carried a weapon that looked like a combination of an axe and a hammer. It was bigger than Taio's entire body. One hit from that thing would turn him into paste. Goral stopped in the center of the arena and looked at Taio. A slow smile spread across his face. "So small," he said. His voice was like thunder. "I have killed insects bigger than you." Taio said nothing. He walked forward until he was standing a few meters from the giant. He had to look almost straight up to see his face. "Are you ready to die, human?" Goral asked. "No," Taio said, "but I am ready to fight." The horns sounded again. The fight began. Goral moved first. Despite his size, he was fast. Impossibly fast. He swung his massive weapon in a wide arc, aiming at Taio's head. Taio ducked. The weapon passed over him, so close that he could feel the wind. He rolled forward between Goral's legs and came up behind him. His sword slashed at the back of Goral's knee. The blade cut through skin and muscle. Purple blood sprayed out. Goral roared in pain and surprise dot first blood. The crowd went silent. No one had ever wounded Goral in the first seconds of a fight. No one had ever wounded Goral at all, but the wound was not deep. Goral turned around, his eyes blazing with anger. "Lucky," he growled. "That was lucky. It will not happen again." He attacked again. This time, he was more careful. His strikes were precise and controlled. Each one could kill instantly if it hit. Taio dodged and weaved. He was smaller, but he used that to his advantage. He moved under Goral's arms, around his attacks, always staying close enough to be dangerous, but far enough to avoid the deadly weapon. He cut Goral again on the arm, then on the hip, then on the other leg. Small cuts, shallow wounds. Nothing that could kill the giant. But together, they were adding up. Blood was flowing from a dozen places now. Goral was getting frustrated. His attacks were becoming wilder, less controlled. He was putting more power into each swing, trying to end the fight with one blow. That was a mistake. Taio saw his chance. When Goral overextended on a particularly vicious swing, Taio jumped forward. He climbed up the giant's body like it was a mountain. His hands found grip on the armor, on the muscles, on the bleeding wounds. Goral tried to grab him, but Taio was too fast. He reached the giant's shoulder and raised his sword high dot, then he stabbed down. The blade went through Goral's eye and into his brain. The destroyer stopped moving. For a moment, everything was frozen. The crowd, the fighters, the whole galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Then Goral fell. He crashed to the ground like a building collapsing. The impact shook the entire arena. Sand flew up in great clouds. When the dust settled, Taio was standing on Goral's chest. His sword was buried in the giant's skull. Purple blood covered his body from head to toe. The crowd was silent. No one moved. No one spoke. Then, somewhere in the back, someone started making a sound. It was not quite clapping. It was something else. A stamping of feet. A hitting of hands against stone dotted spread. More aliens joined in. The sound grew louder and louder. It became a rhythm. A pulse. Like the heartbeat of the galaxy itself. They were honoring him. Enemies and strangers alike. They were showing respect to the human who had done the impossible. Taio pulled his sword from Goral's skull. He raised it high above his head. Blood dripped down his arm, but he did not care. He had won. Against all odds, against all reason, he had won. He looked up at Queen Lyra. She was standing now, her hands gripping the railing in front of her. Her red eyes were wide with an emotion he could not name. "I won," he called out. His voice was hoarse, but it carried through the arena. The deal was clear. Earth goes free. You take your ships and leave. The Queen did not answer. She just stood there, staring at him. Around him, the crowd continued their strange applause. The sound echoed off the walls and up into the sky. It traveled through the ships above and out into space. It spread across the galaxy, carrying the news of what had happened. A human had defeated Garl. A human had won. In the underground shelter on Earth, Yuna was watching the fight on a small screen. When her brother raised his sword in victory, she fell to her knees and wept. The people around her were crying too. Some were praying. Some were laughing. For the first time since the invasion began, there was hope. But Taiho knew the fight was not over yet. He could see it in the Queen's eyes. He could feel it in his bones. She was not going to let this go. She was not going to accept defeat so easily. Something was coming. Something worse than Garl. Something worse than any champion. He cleaned his sword on his pants and waited for whatever came next. The real battle was just beginning. Taiho woke up in darkness. His body hurt everywhere. Every breath was painful. Every small movement made him want to scream. But he did not scream. He pressed his lips together and swallowed the pain. He was lying on a cold metal floor. The room around him was small and empty. No bed, no chair, no window, just 4 walls made of dark purple metal. A faint light came from somewhere above, but he could not see where. He tried to stand. It took 3 attempts. His legs were weak, and his head was spinning. But finally, he managed to get on his feet. He leaned against the wall and took deep breaths. How long had he been unconscious? Hours? Days? He had no way to know. The cell had no clock, no way to track time. The Voran probably wanted it that way. They wanted to break his mind before they broke his body. Good luck with that, he thought. Better aliens than you have tried. A sound made him look up. Part of the wall was sliding open, a door that he had not seen before. Light poured into the cell, and Taiho had to cover his eyes. When he could see again, a Voran soldier was standing in the doorway. The soldier was carrying something in his hands. A tray with food and water. "Eat," the soldier said. His voice was harsh and unfriendly. "The Queen wants you strong for the ceremony." Taiho did not move. "What ceremony?" The soldier laughed. It was an ugly sound. "You do not know? Tomorrow, the Queen will announce her victory to the entire galaxy. All the alien races will watch. All the conquered worlds will see. And you human will be part of the show." "What do you mean?" "You will kneel before the Queen," the soldier said. "You will beg for mercy. You will tell everyone that humans are weak and pathetic, that Earth belongs to the Voran now, that there is no hope for your species." Taiho felt something hot burning in his chest. Anger. Pure, clean anger. "I will never do that." The soldier shrugged. "Then you will die in front of the whole galaxy. Either way, the Queen gets what she wants. A good show." He threw the tray on the ground and walked away. The door closed behind him, and darkness returned. Taiho looked at the food on the floor. Some kind of purple meat and a bottle of clear liquid. He was hungry. He was so hungry that his stomach hurt. But he did not touch the food. He could not trust it. The Voran might have put something in it. Drugs to make him weak. Poison to make him sick. He sat down against the wall and closed his eyes. He needed to think. He needed to find a way out of this. Tomorrow, he would stand in front of the entire galaxy. Millions of aliens would watch him. The Queen wanted him to be an example. She wanted to show everyone what happened to those who fought against the Voran Empire. But what if he could use that moment? What if he could turn her show into something else? An idea began to form in his mind. It was crazy. It was probably impossible, but it was also the only chance he had. He smiled in the darkness. Yes, he knew what he had to do. The next day came faster than he expected. The door opened again, and this time, 4 soldiers came in. They grabbed him roughly and dragged him out of the cell. They walked through long hallways made of the same purple metal. Other Voran soldiers passed them, looking at Taiho with disgust and hatred. Some of them spat at him. One kicked him in the leg. The guards did nothing to stop them. Finally, they reached a large room. It was bigger than anything Taiho had ever seen. The ceiling was so high that he could barely see it. The walls were covered with screens showing images of other worlds, other species, all of them watching, all of them waiting. In the center of the room was a raised platform. And on that platform, sitting on a throne of black crystal, was Queen Lyra. She looked even more beautiful and terrifying than before. Her silver dress shone like a star. Her red eyes burned like fire. Her crown seemed to absorb all the light around it. Thousands of Voran soldiers filled the room. They stood in perfect lines, their weapons ready. At the front were the nobles and generals, wearing fancy armor decorated with gold and jewels. The guards pushed Taiho forward. He stumbled, but did not fall. He walked toward the platform with his head held high. The room went silent. Everyone was watching him. On the screens, millions of aliens across the galaxy were watching him too. Queen Lyra smiled. "Welcome, Commander Taiho," she said. Her voice echoed through the room. "Welcome to your final moment." Taiho stopped at the bottom of the platform. He looked up at the Queen. "Hello, Lyra. Nice place you have here." A gasp went through the crowd. No one called the Queen by her name. No one spoke to her without respect. The guards raised their weapons, ready to kill him. But the Queen raised her hand, and they stopped. Her smile did not fade. If anything, it grew wider. "You are brave, human," she said. "Or perhaps just stupid. Tell me, do you know why you are here?" "Your soldier told me. You want me to kneel and beg." "Yes. I want you to show the galaxy what humans really are. Weak, pathetic, worthless." Taiho nodded slowly. "I have a different idea." The Queen raised an eyebrow. "Oh, what idea is that?" "I challenge you," Taiho said. His voice was loud and clear. It filled the entire room. "I challenge the Voran Empire, not with armies, not with ships. I challenge you to single combat." The silence that followed was absolute. No one moved. No one breathed. Even the Queen seemed frozen. Then the laughter started. It began with one soldier, then spread to others. Soon, the entire room was laughing. The nobles laughed. The generals laughed. Even the guards behind Taiho laughed. But the Queen did not laugh. She stared at Taiho with her red eyes, and there was no humor in them. "Single combat," she repeated. "You want to fight one of my warriors?" "Alone?" "Yes," Taiho said. "If I win, Earth goes free. You take your ships and leave. You never come back. And if you lose, then I die. And you can do whatever you want with Earth." The Queen leaned forward on her throne. "Why would I accept this challenge? I have already won. Earth is mine." "Because you want to," Taiho said. "Because you are bored. You have conquered 1,000 worlds. Nothing is fun anymore. Nothing is exciting. But this," he spread his arms wide, "this is new. This is interesting. One human against your best warrior. The whole galaxy watching. Think of what a show that would be." The Queen did not answer immediately. Her red eyes studied him like he was a puzzle she was trying to solve. "You are clever, human," she finally said. "I did not expect that. Your species has always been so simple, so easy to understand. But you are different. Is that a yes?" She stood up from her throne. The room went silent again. She walked down the steps of the platform until she was standing right in front of Taiho. They were close enough to touch. You know, you cannot win, she said quietly. Only he could hear her now. My warriors are stronger than any human, faster, more powerful. You will die. Maybe, Taiho said. But I will die fighting. I will die as a free man, not as a slave begging for mercy. Something flickered in her red eyes. That same look he had seen before when they first met. Surprise. And maybe, just maybe, a tiny bit of respect. She turned away and walked back to her throne. She sat down and raised her voice so everyone could hear. Very well, human. I accept your challenge. Another gasp went through the crowd. The nobles started talking to each other in urgent whispers. The generals looked confused and angry. My queen, one of the generals said, this is not wise. We should just kill this human and be done with it. Are you questioning me, general? The queen asked. Her voice was soft, but her eyes were deadly. The general stepped back. No, my queen, never. Good. She looked at Taiho again. The combat will take place tomorrow, on the neutral moon of Kessa. All species will be invited to watch. You will fight my champion, girl. He has never lost a battle. He has killed thousands of enemies with his bare hands. Taiho felt a chill run down his spine. He had heard of Goro. Everyone had heard of Goro. The monster, the destroyer, the deadliest warrior in the Varan Empire. But he did not let his fear show. He smiled and nodded. I look forward to meeting him. The queen waved her hand. Take him back to his cell. Give him food and water. Let him rest. I want him at full strength for tomorrow. The guards grabbed Taiho and started dragging him away. As he left the room, he heard the queen's voice one more time. Human, she called. What made you think of this? What made you believe you had any chance at all? Taiho looked over his shoulder. Because I am human, he said, and humans never give up. No matter how small the chance, no matter how strong the enemy. We fight, we always fight. The queen said nothing, but in her red eyes, something was burning. Something that had not been there before. The whole galaxy was watching. The news spread faster than light. On every planet, in every system, aliens of all species talked about the same thing. The human who had challenged the Varan Empire. The human who was going to fight Garo, the destroyer. Most of them thought it was a joke. A funny story about a stupid human who did not know when to quit. They made bets on how long the fight would last. Most bets said less than 1 minute. But some of them, the older ones, the wiser ones, remembered something. They remembered the ancient stories. The legends that had been passed down through generations. The legends spoke of a species that never gave up. A species that would fight against any enemy, no matter how powerful. A species that had fire in their blood and steel in their hearts. The legends called them the Terran, and now, for the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy was going to see if those legends were true. The arena was completely silent. No one moved. No one breathed. The whole galaxy was watching, waiting to see what would happen next. Queen Lyra stood over the broken human. Her sword was still raised. Her hand was still trembling. The cut on her face was bleeding, and she could feel the pain. Real pain. Something she had not felt in 5 centuries. She looked at Taiho. He was dying. She could see it clearly. His body had given up. His wounds were too deep, his blood loss too severe. In a few minutes, maybe less, he would be dead. All she had to do was wait. She did not even need to kill him. She could just stand there and watch him die. Then the fight would be over. She would be the winner. But somehow, that felt wrong. It felt like cheating. It felt like losing, even if the rules said she won. Because in his eyes, she could see it. The fire, it was still burning. Even as his body failed, even as death came for him, that fire would not go out. He was still fighting. He would fight until his last heartbeat, until his last breath, until there was nothing left. She had conquered 1,000 worlds. She had seen billions of creatures die, but she had never seen anything like that fire. "You are dying," she said. Her voice was quiet. Only he could hear her. "Your body is finished. Your strength is gone. Why do you keep fighting?" Taiho looked up at her. His eyes were unfocused, but they found her face. "Because that is what humans do," he said. His voice was barely a whisper. "We do not give up, even when we cannot win, even when we cannot survive. We fight until the very end. Why? What is the point of fighting when you know you will lose? Because there is always hope." He coughed, and blood came out of his mouth. But he kept talking. "Maybe we lose today. Maybe we lose tomorrow. But someday, someone will win. Someone will stand where I am standing and defeat you. Not because they are stronger, but because they refuse to stop." The queen stared at him. She could feel something breaking inside her. Something she had built over thousands of years. Her certainty. Her belief that power was everything. Her conviction that the strong always won. This human was weak. He was dying. He had no chance of winning. But somehow, he had already won. He had proven something that she could not deny. Humans were not insects. They were not weak. They were something else. Something new. Something that did not fit into her understanding of the universe. And that terrified her. She lowered her sword. The movement was slow, almost unconscious. She did not even realize she was doing it until it was done. "No," she said. The word came out before she could stop it. "What?" Taiho asked. "No," she repeated. Her voice was stronger now. "I will not kill you. I will not destroy Earth." The crowd gasped. Millions of aliens could not believe what they were hearing. The queen of the Varn Empire was refusing to fight. She was admitting defeat. "You won," she said. The words tasted bitter in her mouth, but she forced them out anyway. "Not because you were stronger, not because you were faster, but because you showed me something I had never seen before." She turned to face the crowd. Her voice rose, carrying across the arena and out into space. "The human wins. Earth goes free. The Varn Empire will withdraw immediately. This fight is over." The silence lasted for a long moment. Then, slowly, sounds began to fill the arena. Cheering, crying, screaming. Aliens of every species were celebrating. Some were crying with joy. Others were shouting in disbelief. In the royal box, the Varn nobles and generals were in chaos. Some were arguing. Some were trying to override the queen's decision. But the guards held them back. The queen had spoken. Her word was law. On Earth, in the underground shelter, Yuna fell to her knees. Tears were streaming down her face. Around her, people were hugging each other, crying, laughing. The war was over. They had won. "Taiho," she whispered. "Thank you, brother. Thank you." In the arena, the queen walked toward the fallen human. Her guards tried to stop her, but she pushed them away. She kneeled down beside him. "You are dying," she said quietly. "Your wounds are too severe. Not even our medicine can save you." Taiho smiled. It was a tired smile, but there was peace in it. "I know. I knew from the beginning. I never planned to survive. Then why? Why did you sacrifice yourself?" "For Earth, for my people, for everyone who will live because I died." He closed his eyes. It was worth it. Every moment was worth it. The queen reached out and touched his face. Her hand was gentle, almost tender. "I have lived for 3,000 years. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have witnessed the birth and death of stars. But I have never met anyone like you." "That is because you have never met a human before," Taiho said. Not really. You saw us as insects. You never saw what we truly are. And what is that? We are the ones who dream. We are the ones who hope. We are the ones who look at the impossible and say, maybe. We are the ones who build cities in the desert and reach for the stars. We are weak, yes, but we are also strong in ways you cannot understand. The queen was silent for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. I understand now. I understand why the ancient legends speak of your species with such awe. I understand why the old ones warned us never to wake the Terrans. She stood up and turned to her guards. Bring the medical team. Do everything possible to save him. Use every resource. I do not care about the cost. My queen, one of the guards said. He is a human. Why would we? Because he has earned it, she said firmly. Because he is the bravest warrior I have ever faced. Because I choose to. The medical team arrived within minutes. They worked on Taiho's body with strange machines and glowing tools. The queen watched them, her face unreadable. Hours passed. The crowd slowly left the arena. The ships began to withdraw. The Varan Empire was keeping its word. Earth was free. Finally, the leader of the medical team approached the queen. He will live, he said. It will take time, but he will recover. The queen nodded. Something that might have been relief flickered in her eyes. Good. When he is well enough to travel, send him back to Earth, with honors. She turned and began walking toward the exit. But she stopped at the door and looked back at the unconscious human. Taiho, she said quietly, we will meet again someday. And next time, I will be stronger. I will be better. I will prove that I can be worthy of the respect you have earned. Then she was gone. Weeks later, a ship appeared in the sky above Earth. It was not a Varan warship. It was something else. A golden vessel, beautiful and elegant. It landed in the center of what had once been Seoul. The city was in ruins, but people had begun to return. They were rebuilding, starting over, finding hope again. The ship's door opened, and a figure walked out. He was thin and pale, covered in bandages. He walked slowly, carefully, like someone who had been very close to death, but he was alive. The crowd gathered around him. At first, they did not recognize him. Then someone shouted his name. Taiho! It is Commander Taiho. The crowd went wild. People were crying, cheering, reaching out to touch him. He had become a legend. The man who saved Earth. The warrior who made the queen tremble. A woman pushed through the crowd. She was younger than him, with the same dark eyes and determined chin. Yuanadad, she threw herself into his arms. Brother, she sobbed. I thought I would never see you again. Taiho held her tight. I am here, he said. I am home. That night, there was a celebration unlike any Earth had ever seen. Fires burned in every city. Songs echoed across the planet. People danced and laughed and cried. And in the sky, the stars seemed brighter than ever, as if the universe itself was celebrating. In the years that followed, the story of Taiho spread across the galaxy. It became legend. Then it became myth. Children of 100 species heard the tale of the Terran who challenged an empire, who faced death without fear, who made the most powerful queen in the universe tremble. Earth recovered. It grew stronger. Humans spread out into the stars, building new colonies, making new friends, finding their place in the galaxy. And whenever they met a new species, they told the same story. The story of how humanity earned its freedom. The story of one man who refused to give up. The story of the Terran, warrior who made the alien queen tremble. Queen Lyra never forgot that day. In her palace on the Varan homeworld, she kept a single human weapon. A curved sword, stained with blood. Sometimes, late at night, she would look at it And remember the human who taught her what true courage meant. Remember the fire that burned in his eyes. Remember the moment when, for the first time in her long life, she understood what it meant to truly respect another being. The galaxy was never the same after that day. The old order had changed. New powers were rising, and at the center of it all, standing tall among the stars, were the humans. The Terrans. The ones who never gave up. The ones who made gods tremble. The arena had grown quiet again. The strange applause had faded. Now everyone was waiting, watching. The human had won, but they all knew the fight was not truly over. Queen Lyra was not the kind of ruler who accepted defeat. Taiho stood over Goro's body and kept his eyes on the royal box. The queen was still standing, still gripping the railing. Her advisors were talking to her in urgent whispers. Some of them looked angry. Others looked scared. Finally, she raised her hand and everyone fell silent. "You fought well, human," she said. Her voice was calm, but there was something dangerous underneath it. Better than anyone expected. Better than anyone believed possible. "Does that mean you will keep your word?" Taiho asked. "Earth goes free?" The queen smiled. It was not a nice smile. "The deal was for you to defeat my champion. You have done that. But I never said Goro was my only champion." A cold feeling spread through Taiho's chest. He had expected something like this. The queen was playing games. She had no intention of letting Earth go. "Then send another one," he said. "I will kill him too." "Oh, I intend to send another one," the queen said. "The greatest champion the Varan Empire has ever known. The strongest warrior in the galaxy." She paused. The smile on her face grew wider. "Me," the crowd gasped. The nobles behind her started protesting loudly. Even her guards looked shocked. "My queen," one of the generals said. "This is madness. You cannot risk yourself against this human. He is dangerous. He is..." Silence. The word cut through the air like a blade. The general stopped talking immediately. "I have made my decision. I will face the human myself. If he wins, Earth goes free, and the Varan Empire will never return. If I win?" She looked down at Taiho with her burning red eyes. "If I win, I will personally crush every human city. I will turn your planet into ashes. I will erase your species from the history of the galaxy." Taiho felt something strange in his chest. It was not fear. He had gone past fear a long time ago. It was something else. Something that felt almost like excitement. "You would risk everything on one fight?" he asked. "Your empire. Your power. Everything you have built?" "Yes," she said simply. "Because I have never lost. Because I am stronger than any warrior in the galaxy. Because I want to prove, once and for all, that humans are nothing. That Earth is nothing. That you, Commander Taiho, are nothing." She stepped back from the railing and began walking toward the stairs. Her advisors tried to stop her, but she pushed them away. Her guards formed a line behind her, their faces showing clear concern. Taiho watched her come down. With each step, he could feel something changing. The air in the arena was getting heavier, thicker. It was becoming hard to breathe. He realized what it was. Power. Raw, pure power. The queen was releasing her energy, letting it flow out of her body. The pressure was incredible. It pushed against him like a physical force dot. "So this is what a real Voran feels like," he thought. The soldiers he had fought before were nothing. Even Goro was nothing. The queen was something else entirely. Something ancient and terrible. She stepped onto the sand of the arena. Her silver dress flowed around her like liquid metal. Her red eyes glowed brighter than before. In her hand, she carried a weapon that had appeared from nowhere. a long, thin sword made of something that looked like black glass. "I have killed 1,000 champions with this blade," she said. "I have ended civilizations with it. I have cut through armies like they were made of paper." She pointed the sword at Taiho. "You should be honored, human. You will be killed by the greatest warrior in the universe." Taiho raised his own sword. It suddenly felt very small in his hands. Very weak, but he did not let that stop him. He had come too far to stop now. "Less talking," he said. "More fighting." The queen's eyes narrowed. Then she moved. She was fast. Faster than anything Taiho had ever seen. She crossed the distance between them in less than a heartbeat. Her black sword sliced through the air where his head had been a moment before. He barely dodged. His body moved on instinct, not thought. If he had been even a little slower, he would be dead. He struck back. His blade aimed at her chest. But she blocked it easily, almost casually. The force of the impact sent pain shooting up his arm. They separated, circled each other. The queen was smiling again. "Good," she said. "Very good. You are fast for a human. But it is not enough. It will never be enough." She attacked again. This time, she was even faster. Taiho blocked, dodged, rolled. He used every trick he knew, every technique he had learned in 20 years of training. But it was not working. She was too strong, too fast, too perfect. Her blade cut his arm, then his leg, then his chest. Each wound was shallow, but they were adding up. She was playing with him, enjoying herself. Like a cat playing with a mouse before the kill. Blood was flowing from his body. His vision was getting blurry. His movements were getting slower. "I am going to die," he realized. "She's going to kill me, and there is nothing I can do about it." But even as that thought entered his mind, something else rose up against it. Something hot and fierce and absolutely refusing to accept defeat. "No, I will not die. Not yet. Not until I have done what I came to do." He remembered his father's words from long ago. The battle is never over until you decide it is over. Even when your body fails, even when your heart stops, you keep fighting. That is what it means to be human. Taiho stopped trying to win. He stopped trying to survive. He stopped thinking about anything except one thing. Hurting her. Making her feel pain. Making her understand that humans would never give up. He attacked. Wild. Desperate. Not caring about defense. Not caring about living. Every strike was meant to kill. Every movement was meant to hurt. The queen blocked his first attack. And his second. And his third. But the fourth one got through. His blade cut her arm. Purple blood flowed out. Her eyes went wide with shock. She looked at the wound like she could not believe it was real. Like she could not believe a human had actually hurt her. "Impossible," she whispered. "No one has wounded me in 500 years." Taiho laughed. It was a wild, half-crazy laugh. "Get used to it." He attacked again. And again. And again. He was not faster than her. He was not stronger than her. But he was not holding back anything. Every attack was made with everything he had. The queen was forced to retreat. For the first time in centuries, she was on the defensive. For the first time in her life, she was facing someone who was not afraid to die. The crowd was going crazy. Aliens of every species were screaming, cheering, crying. They had never seen anything like this. A human, half dead and covered in blood, pushing back the queen of the Varan Empire. Why? The queen demanded. She sounded confused, almost desperate. Why do you keep fighting? You cannot win. You must know you cannot win. So why do you not give up? Taiho did not answer with words. He answered with his blade. Another cut, this time on her face. A thin line of purple blood appeared on her perfect cheek. Something changed in her eyes. The confidence was gone. The arrogance was gone. What replaced it was something Taiho had never expected to see. Fear. The queen of the Warren Empire, the conqueror of 1,000 worlds, the destroyer of 100 species, was afraid. Not of dying. Not of losing. She was afraid of him. Of what he represented. Of what his existence meant. Because if one human could make her bleed, what could a billion humans do? What could a species that never gave up do? She had thought humans were weak. She had thought they were insects to be crushed. But now she was beginning to understand the truth. Humans were not weak. They were just sleeping. And she had just woken them up. Taiho raised his sword for another attack. But his body finally gave out. His legs collapsed beneath him. He fell to his knees in the sand. Blood pooled around him. His vision was almost completely dark now. The queen stood over him. Her sword was raised. One strike would end it all. One strike would kill him. But she did not strike. She just stood there, looking at him. And in her red eyes, Taiho could see the battle that was happening inside her. Pride against fear. Arrogance against doubt. Everything she had believed about the universe was crumbling. What are you? She whispered. What are you humans really? Taiho looked up at her. He could barely see anymore. He could barely breathe. But he smiled. We are the ones who never give up, he said. We are the ones who fight until the end. We are the ones who make gods tremble. The queen's hand was shaking. Her sword was shaking. She had killed thousands of enemies. She had never hesitated. But now, facing this broken human on his knees, she could not move. She was trembling. The queen of the Varran Empire was trembling, and the whole galaxy saw it.